Good idea.
Hello, everybody. No, we have not forgotten or again gotten caught out in traffic or what have you. I was out running errands last week, and it was about 10 till, and I thought I'm supposed to be live in 10 minutes. And here I was 20 minutes away, and in the middle of a much needed conversation. So sorry, I am sorry. Um, but we're here today, and I've got my cohorts, my partners in crime. There's
Evening,
Ruby
peeps.
and Wayne, and they're going to keep us straight tonight, and we're just going to have a good time. I've got a piece. Let me switch around
I'm
here.
not so sure about the straight part.
Let's see, that camera's not showing you too well. This one will show better. This is a
Oh, that's
piece of
nice.
this is a piece of spalted oak. A couple of weeks ago, I turned a piece that I thought was walnut, and it turned out to be oak. It was further up the log from this one. I've already turned the other half of that particular log. This is the third of the four that I ended up getting. I got two logs, split them in half, and cut blanks out of them. So this is number three of this oak. We're going to turn a closed form today. I've had some questions, and maybe you have heard the questions as well. You've got bowls that are open formed. If I switch cameras again, I can talk to you a little better. You have bowls that are open, and you have hollow forms that come all the way around and quite often have a neck, not always, but quite often. But they're a smaller opening that they're hollowed through. And then there's closed forms where you have a bowl shape and they come up and they close back in on themselves. That's what we're going to do today. Just something in between the open bowl form and the hollow forms. And we call it a closed form. So I'm going to get started. Like I said, this is a piece of oak. It has been pre-rounded on the bandsaw. It is roughly, what did I say? Uh, 8.5 inches, thereabouts, and it varies because it was the way it was in the tree. That's 3 3/4 there, and then the narrow end is 2 1/8. So quite a bit of variance, but we're going to even that out a good bit. So I'm going to get started turning this at about 615 RPMs, and somebody, Wayne, is going to read off the chat, and we'll talk with you some more here in a minute.
Yeah, how unusual. Now, before I start reading out who's here, and there are quite a few people here, what you usually find is with sort of the open type bowl, that tends to lend itself for displaying fruit and things like this. With where it comes over at the top and it's more of a closed type bowl, that lends itself more to salad bowls. So you can actually do the mixing of the salad without it coming out all over the place. And now I will get on and see who's here. We've got Jennifer in. Jennifer's Crafting Creations. Good evening, Jennifer. Obviously, we've got Ruby here. Pete's in. Good morning, Pete. Going down. Norman's in. Norman Greenwell. Evening, Norman. Frederick Deer. A cold, clear evening in Kent. Current temperature 40 Fahrenheit, 4 degrees C, and humidity is 78%. Thanks for that, Frederick. Carsten's in. Good evening, Carsten. Dale, Old Man River. Evening, Dale. Rob from Copper Owl is here. I'm starting to go down. This is going to jump in a minute. I can feel it happening. Yeah, there we go.
Did you get Norman Greenwell?
Yeah, I got Norman. The Angry Woodturner's in. Ronald Todd's in. Roger Wallum is here. Malcolm Douglas. Ward's in. Hiya, Ward. Roger Kent. Clinton Wood Dancers. Vinnie Charlton. I'm still going down. Spun by Green Jeans. Tim Ponder. Al's in. Evening, Al. Oh, good afternoon. Heather's here. Anthony Green. Andrew, Wivy Woodshed. Raymond Wise. Birds Bulls. Healy's in. Good evening, Healy.
Hi,
Mama,
Haley.
Mama Sneaks is here. Hey, Mama Sneaks. I hope you've got your the vase that I gave you. I hope you've got that out on a nice shelf.
I
And
think,
that's me down to the bottom.
yeah, I think you got everyone. If we missed anyone, we apologize and welcome anyway.
Yeah, if I did miss anybody, like Ruby said, I do apologise. Stick a comment in and I'll get you. And Johnny Foster's just come in as well.
Hi, John.
Great. Good to have all of you. Those of you in the States, hope you had a good Thanksgiving. For everybody, I wish you a Merry Christmas.
And for those of you over in the States, Martin Sabin Smith is doing a YouTube live tonight, which is going to be 7:30 Central Time, I think.
Correct.
Which is 1:30 a.m. over here in the UK, if anybody's wanting to stay up.
I believe that's 8:30 Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah, that will be 8:30 Eastern.
Good. All right. Just hit that.
Oh,
Make
thanks,
sure I have
Mama
my
Snakes.
tenon. So we can go back to, now that I've got my tenon made, I can go back to shaping. And I'm really only concerned about to where I'm at, right about here, because the other side, it's going to be curved. So I want to come back the other direction on it. And I'll do that after I get the bottom taken care of and turn it around in the chest.
Now, I found with these bowls that kind of turn back in on themselves like that, or if you want the side is undercut, I find they work really well for yarn bowls as well. Because if you've got a ball of yarn, it just sort of rolls around in there. And I've had to make some fairly large ones, like over 12 inches wide, for people who do a lot of knitting.
Just people saying hello to everyone at the moment.
And Fred just bought the Crown Cairo tool.
Yeah, but I think he's going to add something to that because he actually retracted that message. So he may well be adding more to that.
The cryo tools, the cryogenically treated tools are awfully good tools, huh?
They are. I've got I've certainly got a couple of bull gouges, which were sold through Simon Hope, but they are the Crown ones.
Oh,
Albert. Oh, sorry. Go on, Ruby.
The person who's having the live tonight is Martin Sabin Smith.
He is the guy that does all of the Hampshire Sheen products.
There, I've just put his name in for you, Al.
He usually does a live
at the same time as Doug.
Yeah, he usually does a live on a Tuesday night on YouTube, but he's doing this one especially for US audience.
Okay.
I've seen this live and it's a pretty good presentation, so you won't want to miss it.
All right, I'm just making sure my foot's real nice and flat there before I come on along. I'm in pretty good shape. turn this off and I can show you. We're in pretty good shape along this curve. It's pretty smooth, pretty regular. The only hump is where I let it go into a foot here. In fact, I want to come back and put a little bead right there.
Okay.
And
Just to say,
Fred says he bought the Crown Cairo Revolution set. Any thought or opinions on it?
Right. I don't have the Crown Cryo Revolution set, but I do have, as I've already said, I do have a couple of Crown Cryo bull gouges, and they are really good. It's the way they've been treated. They've been treated in a freezing process, and that the way that this works is that it tends to get all of the I'm not really into metallurgy, but it tends to get all of the lines of the bits of the metal in line, so they don't have to be sharpened as much as ordinary high speed steel like M4 M42.
Yeah, and they tend to hold an edge for a longer period of time.
right. The bowl gouge I've been using and this detail gouge are both Doug Thompson tools, and they're done the same way. They start off as a powder, it's a metal powder process. Then after the tool is made, it's treated cryogenically, um, exactly like Wayne explained it there. This is the way I understand it. It's a cold process that brings all the grains in line. So it tends to work extremely well. All right, we're done with the bottom as far as, well, let's do a little sanding before we spin it around. I can do all the sanding later, but we'll do some now.
Well,
try-
if you insist.
Yeah, I'll turn the speed down to 500.
And Jennifer's asking how I am. I'm actually not bad at the moment, Jennifer. Thanks for asking. It was great to see you at Harrogate, and it was actually great to see you not having to use the wheelchair, so you were able to have a wander about.
Ah, that sounds good.
And Jamie's just come in. Evening, Jamie.
Hey, Jamie.
Hey, nephew Jamie.
Jamie has got that many aunties around the country. It's actually untrue.
Well, he's another fellow that was a little taller than I expected.
Yeah, Jamie's a bit taller than me as well.
Both Jamie and Andrew.
Andrew.
Yeah, you actually expect Andrew to be shorter, but he is a bit taller.
Well,
Yeah,
those are the two sidekicks you find together, Doug.
And Michael McEwen's just come in as well.
Hi, Mike.
Cold. All right. Like I said, just a little bit of sanding. We're not going to do much. Take it pretty quickly up through the grits. It's pretty smooth to begin with, so it's
Right. Jennifer just said it was good to see me too, and it was good not having to be in the wheelchair. And Jamie's put in that Andrew was on stilts.
I was kind of hoping to see both of those gentlemen in the evening, possibly in the bar, but they kind of disappeared.
Yeah, they were in they weren't staying in a hotel. They were in a Airbnb.
Okay.
So there was Jamie, Andrew and his wife Debbie, Shug and his wife Polly, and John from, oh God, I'm forgetting John's YouTube name now, but John as well. They were all staying in a Airbnb.
Okay.
And Mr. G's wood turning has just come in as well.
Okay.
Hi, Mr. G.
Normally, I don't pull my tailstock up after a reverse, but it's right here. It's handy. We'll do it
Yep.
this time.
And Jennifer's just put in. John is Jigsy Shed.
Jigsy. All right. Bring a little more speed back in. This is even, we're up to 9:15 at this point. I got just a little shake, but that'll disappear quickly. Let's see. You might like this other camera a little better.
I was going to suggest that. I'm glad you did it.
Now, I've heard some people that said they didn't like to turn oak because it has a kind of a rugged smell to it. This piece is a little more than the last piece of oak I did, but it's still not a terrible smell.
I've never found
Honestly,
oak. I've got to say, I've never found oak having a nasty smell. Elm sometimes has a pretty nasty smell.
right.
No, I haven't found oak had an odor at all.
This piece definitely has an odor. It's not terrible. It smells like,
Smells like oak.
yeah, kind of a cross between dirt and this one has a little more of that barnyard smell, but not a lot.
Well, that's probably because of the spalting and where it was lying on the ground.
You're probably right. And this piece, I know it comes from. This piece comes from Kentucky.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got my. This is my bottom curve. And this is going to be kind of the transition area. This is going to be this area right up here is going to be my top. So I've got to come back around. Got to get it flat, and then we can put some shape to it.
I thought it was interesting that you said you wouldn't normally bring your tailstock up, whereas that would be something I would normally do.
Yeah, I know you do. And we've talked about it a little bit before. When when I was taking my one or two bowl turning lessons that I ever took, the guy was emphatic: get rid of the tailstock as soon as possible.
Hmm.
And that has stuck in my head. And honestly, once I get it in the chuck, I'm not concerned about it.
No, me neither. I've got to say, once I reverse a bowl and put it in the chuck, if you're not confident with your chuck and how it works, you shouldn't have that chuck.
Well,
Sure.
see, in a case like this, though, Doug hasn't totally finished shaping the outside, so I definitely would advise bringing the tailstock up like he's done.
Yeah, and honestly, the only time I've ever had any trouble is when I use a tenon and I hadn't formed it or sized it correctly, and I end up pulling it off, pull the tenon off.
Right. Well, that could be from a crack in the wood that you have no control over as well.
Absolutely. It could be a crack in the wood. It could be where I didn't shape it right or didn't size it correctly. Um, be any number of things. So again, if we take the
Tendering wood
time.
turning has just come in.
I'm sorry, who?
Tendering wood turning. He says he very rarely that he gets to being alive. Hi,
Okay.
Doug, and hi, all.
And
Well,
it
glad to have
appears his first name is Chris. So, hi, Chris.
Okay, Chris. Glad to have you.
Right, Frederick has asked a question. I have a platter to make, and the customer wants the rim embellished with chameleon powder. Is it better to apply it over sanding sealer or over a finely sanded finish? What I would recommend, and I've used chameleon powders for quite a few years now. What I would recommend is doing the platter using either black gesso or a black lacquer, then using um, gold leaf size and put on top of that, and then use the chameleon powders on top of the size,
And then seal it afterwards.
and then seal it afterwards. That's the way that Emma. That's the way that Emma does it, and it's Emma that sells the chameleon powders.
Yep, you're exactly the way I do it.
Now, are you going to leave that shape on the corner there?
Here,
Yep.
yes, ma'am.
Okay, that'll be a little challenging when you go in to hollow it.
Now,
Yeah, I've got a secret weapon for that.
the angry wood turner has said a lot of people don't really know the correct use of their chuck, i.e., size, and not bottom out on the blank. I've got to say, in a lot of the lives, and now I haven't done a live since May, but on a lot of the lives that I do when I'm doing platters and things like this, I do tend to explain on how a chuck works.
Yeah, he's absolutely right. Like your tenon should not be as deep as your jaws are, and then that way your jaws, the top of the jaws, sit against the flat on the bottom of the bowl, and
Yep.
that will hold. If you have your jaws, if you have your tenon touching the bottom of the jaws, then from vibration and pressure, the wood can pry itself, wiggle itself right out of the jaws.
Yeah,
Yep.
hopefully you can see. There's the
So
bottom of my tenon, and I've still got
Good eighth of an
3/8.
inch.
Yeah, I've got 3/8 from there down before I bottom out, and my jaw faces are up against. You can't see it. My faces are right up against the bottom of the bowl. That's why I went back in before I flipped it around. I went in and made sure my foot was dead flat.
Yeah,
So now that is also this gap here. That actually may be just a hair wide. It could have been a little narrower, but I've got it pretty close to the perfect circle. So that way I've got as good a grip on there as I possibly can.
yep,
If that
Susie
helps.
Swiss wood turner has come in, Sprague wood turner has come in, and what Doug was saying there is exactly right, because the way jaws are made, they are machined in one piece and then cut into four. So you do lose a little bit of the curve where they're being cut into four. And
Mhm.
what you're trying to do is get a grip where it's as close to being proper circular than anything else. If you have it too small, obviously it won't fit. But if you have it too large, it's only gripping on the corners, on the fork, or the well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, on the 8 corners of the 4 jaws.
right.
So that's not what you want to have. And that's the same when you're doing it with a mortise as well. You're looking at exactly the same thing when you're using a mortise as well. Um, you need to have the jaws so they are just about circular, so the chuck actually holds all the way around,
Yep.
rather than just on certain points.
Yeah. Now, Fred had a question. Does it have to be black? The underpainting for the chameleon flakes, if you use black, the flakes tend to show up better reflectively with the light.
Mhm. Um, I was working on something else. You said Sprague wood turning is in. That's Jim Sprague in Canada. I'm glad to have you
Hi,
along,
Jim.
Jim. Jim does a lot of hybrid bulb
Now,
length.
Carsten has said he was in a discussion with someone only just last week who's been turning for 5+ years and insists that the chuck works better when it's bottomed out. Well, I'm sorry, Carsten. I have got to disagree.
I dis
Um,
I disagree totally as well.
yeah, I mean, I've been turning for what 38 year now, and that's never been the case with me.
Yeah. When I
Yeah,
started, I thought you had to have everything. I thought your tenon needed to bottom out and your jaws needed to hit the face. Um, and I threw more pieces out because it was against the bottom. What it does, it gives
Yeah.
the wood a place to lever out of your jaws.
yeah.
So
Now, Todd has also asked, Todd of Glencove has asked, tenon versus mortise. I tend to use a mortise. I've got to say, Todd, I tend to use a mortise as well.
I prefer tenon myself.
A lot of people do prefer tenons because if they're finishing off the bottom of the bowl, so there's no sign of how it's been held, using
Right.
a tenon is the best way to do that.
Well, I think the other thing too is if something goes wrong, you usually have something you can salvage it with. But if it's a very shallow bowl, then mortise makes more sense. And Bert's Bowles has said, I think I follow the best practices for a chuck, but other than pride, why wouldn't I engage my tailstock? And I think you're right on that.
yeah, there's nothing. Yeah, I don't because that's just the way I was taught, and it's not something I'm used to. Um,
Now, Carsten has come back and said, Wayne and Ruby, sorry, my mistake. I thought the emoji showed that I thought he was a fool. And I've just gone back to look at the comment, Carsten, and yes, I can understand that now.
Well, I hate to say it, Karsten, but whoever that chap was, he's wrong.
with all the videos I've been watching the last 6 months to a year, um, I'm constantly amazed at how many people have they've been given misinformation, and then they turn around and they show that on YouTube. And I'm sorry that happens, but we all know it does.
Yeah, I've got to say in my lives, I always show misinformation on YouTube
Well,
because I'm not a very good turner.
right. Excuse me while I clear my throat. Well, just before we went live, Wayne and I were having a discussion that Richard Finley did a demonstration for Wood Turning 360 last night. And in all honesty, that was, if you ever get to watch him demonstrate, he was one of the best demonstrators I have ever seen who explained his tool control and why he does what he does. And I totally agree with everything he had to say. Um, it was really refreshing to see somebody do that well.
And Billy Woodworks has just come in. Good evening,
Hey,
Chris.
Bailey.
Hi, Bailey.
Sprague Woodturning's got to go. He's
All
got
right,
to do some
Jim.
filming. Got to do some filming at the new shop, and I think Johnny Foster left as well. I think he's probably at work, and he's got to get back to work.
That's usually the case. Yeah, Jim just moved and he's building a brand new shop.
Yeah, Malcolm saw the demo last night and he agrees it was really well done.
It was really, really well done, I've got to say.
And Haley, it was Richard Findley.
Haley was in. Haley was in last night.
I thought she was, but
And Rex B's in. Evening, Rex. Hi all. Happy Tuesday. Thanks to the incredible earworms and Ruby and the infinitely wise Wayne. Oh my.
oh dear.
No need. Absolutely no need.
All right, we got to get. Oh,
I'll take it though.
I had a catastrophe, Wayne. My block broke in half.
Oh dear.
Oh, catastrophe.
Yeah, this is my measuring block for my depth, and it's supposed to be double that wide. It broke right along there. I think I
Well,
stepped on it.
you know, a ruler still works.
Oh, but it won't tell me what I need to know. This is my information. Oh,
And
I've got
Haley
forever.
has just said, oh yes, I watched that. Sorry, I missed the name. Got distracted. Yes, it was good.
It was better than good. It was excellent.
Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear. Okay, I've decided that's not the right piece even, and I don't know where the other one is. It's
Oh my
missing,
life.
but I
Well,
can. It helps me.
you could still use a ruler.
I could.
You
Oh,
could just actually you could just put a ruler down from the end of the chuck down onto that piece of wood and mark it.
yeah, I could. I could do it just like that. Yeah, I got it now. Perfect. And I can still use my handy dandy, and I've still got an inch and a half, if not more.
There you go.
It's a whole lot of wood there.
You know, if you had calipers like the Martel calipers, you could just measure it with those.
Yeah, but I just thought that in seconds for you, Ruby.
Well,
I've got some, but I don't know where they are.
that's because the old minds like ours think alike, Wayne. I mean, we just learned so much over the years. Our brains take time to go through all those files.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, we tend to look at something like that, and you think, what's the easiest way to sort this?
Or what tools do I have close at hand?
That's it. Yeah. Yeah. What's close at hand? I did watch one of the Rafin videos quite a while back now. Um, he was explaining the tools he uses and when he uses them, why he uses them. He says, honestly, at the end of the day, the reason I use the tool that I use to make a particular cut is because it's the one closest to hand.
Yep.
Now, Mike says you could fire a laser down the spindle hole, another laser down the tailstock quill, and then use a rule.
I
All
don't
right.
know if I don't know if anybody is actually saying, but Chris Parker, the Baldwood Turner, he put a post on Facebook yesterday, I think, and he is selling some Fibonacci calipers,
Okay.
Okay.
which is ideal. He did say the thirds. Now, obviously, the Fibonacci thing isn't actually thirds. That's used more in art than anything else. But they are very good calipers for measuring a third to two thirds for doing the likes of vases, hollow forms,
Right.
and things like this.
Yes, they
And
are.
Jamie's come back.
Yep.
Okay. I
Now,
just got a
one
set not long ago, and I haven't even used them yet.
now one thing I want to point out to folks here is Doug's making this undercut right from the corner where it turns back in. when he's cutting towards himself, he's cutting in the right direction because the grain direction changes at that point. From the widest part, you would cut towards the center on a side grain, but from that widest point, cutting towards him is the right direction. And
Lucy's just come in.
that tool's doing an excellent job of it. Hi,
Lucy's just
Lucy.
come in, and I think she's sitting in the car park.
Hey, Lucy.
And Jamie's asking a question: how small is the lip of the bowl for to become to be before it becomes a hollow form? A lot smaller than this, Jamie.
Yeah, yeah. This is still open, but it's a closed. Yeah,
It's a closed open form.
yeah. It's this. Yeah. People want to know definitions, and it's hard to do a definition of the closed form because it's between an open bowl and a hollow form.
Yeah. Now Pete's giving you a good suggestion there, Doug. He says you could drill a hole to 7.21872 millimeters from the bottom of the bowl, then cut away until you get to the bottom of the drill hole. Then take 2 smidgens and a gnat's whisker extra off. And you'd have the perfect thickness for the bottom of your bowl. Yeah, but gnats over here and smidgens aren't the same size as they are over in England, Pete.
Yeah, exactly.
And as Pete says, that method requires you think about it before the cut starts.
Yeah.
Oh man, that is getting so nice. A little more to go on that outer.
And folks, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button while you're sitting there watching Doug cut away.
Now, Fred has said a tad is 3/4 of a smidgen.
Okay. And
And did you know that this is something I found out today? Did you know that Imperial stormtroopers are 5'10", but metric stormtroopers are 180 centimeters?
wow. And Pete has pointed out that they have metric smidgens, whereas we have linear ones.
Oh my life! See, I'm not. I'm of an age when I went to school, or when I was supposed to be going to school. We were actually we were actually taught imperial. We still had inches and feet, and I still, when I'm doing measuring, I still use both.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, I'm down to about a half an inch right here. So that ain't too shabby. That ain't too shabby.
Now, Carsten is asking, does Doug have good noise cancellation, or is he managing to use that tool very quietly? Whenever I use it, it makes a real racket. He's
It is
he's
loud.
he's got good noise cancellation, Carsten.
Yeah, yeah. Between Jabra headset and um, what OBS does as well, it does a pretty doggone good job. Um, that number 3 hollower, it was loud. I was afraid y'all were hearing it, and apparently you weren't. So
And Mike has said, bah ha ha, Wayne still works in rods and cubits.
Hey, don't knock it, Mike. I do too. If you were our age, you would be working in them as well.
To tell you the truth, I think Mike is our age, or getting there anyway, Ruby.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think he's still a couple years behind us.
one thing about these carbide cutters, you got to stop pretty often to clean out because you do make some shavings.
Yes.
And I hope you noticed too
Right.
with that number three, I pulled the tailstock or the tailstock, the tool rest way back so that let me get it out. I can show you what I'm saying. I pulled the tool rest back so that this flat section, I didn't have my tool rest started there at the very closest. So I was from there out, not from
Yep.
there in at all. All of this part was hanging free because the cutter, the line of the cutter is in line with this edge right here.
Yep.
See? So I want from here back to be on the tool rest, not forward.
Well, the new Easywood tools actually have a mark indicating that on the side of the tool.
Um, yeah, I think this does this one have it? Yeah, this one does not. This is one of the old models that I got when they were still being produced in Owensboro, Kentucky. Same with
Right. Now,
same with my hollower.
Jamie's just put in, and this is for people who are in the UK. Anyone heard about the chef from Yorkshire who had his truckload of pie stolen, valued at £25,000, and he's appealing for their return? Now, update on that. These pies were going to be going to Yorkshire for the Yorkshire Christmas market, I believe. Going to York for the York Christmas market. It was just on the news earlier tonight that the van has been found. Now, he did put a post out to the people who stole the van and the pies that, okay, the pies have been stolen, the van's been stolen, don't ruin the pies. You can't sell them because my name's all over them. Just, hand them out to people who might need them. But it's just been on the news tonight that the van has been found with the pies, and all of the pies have actually been ruined, so they can't actually be sold. Which
There's
is a
only one thing worse than a thief, and that is a wasteful thief.
yeah. I mean that is an absolute nightmare. I mean it really is.
Now, Doug, Jamie was asking if your bar has started coming out of the handle. I'm not sure if it's on that tool or the other one.
Oh, on the number three, it looks like it. No, that's how it's. That's not a normal handle. I mean, it's the normal shape, but this is one of the experimental ones, and it was as deep as he made it.
Okay.
Normally, the square part should be all the way down against the handle. So I've got this gap right here that shouldn't be there. But that's the
Okay.
way it's been since I got it.
And Zed's just come in. Evening, Zed.
Hey, Zed.
Hi,
Well, go
Zed.
ahead and put your link in, Zed. You
Right, I'm
got it?
I'm just gonna drop out for a couple of minutes. I will be back
Okay.
shortly.
All righty.
Lucy
All right.
was telling Jamie that his pies were the best, but I didn't get one.
Oh,
I was looking forward to it, but then I was looking forward to Lucy's cookies as well that I never got, or brownies.
you didn't get brownies either?
No, they bypassed me.
Oh, my. So you missed out on the Harrogate experience.
Well, I had enough of the rest of the Harrogate experience was quite enough to keep me going.
Oh, I've got to say, that last cut just gave me a smooth finish inside of there. It's amazing. And I used to be one of the worst. I would say you can't get a smooth surface from carbides, but you can. You can. If you take a light cut with a sharp cutter,
Yep.
that center section particularly, that's as
Has
smooth
the
as it can
baby's
be.
bottom?
It's not that smooth, but it's close. All right, I've cut that as far as I'm going to cut it. I'm going to sand it quickly here. Where are we at? 45 minutes in. That's not bad.
Now, Zed's indicated that he's not having a premiere tonight. He had 20 people invade his place for Thanksgiving. Happy
Okay, all right.
Thanksgiving to all of the Americans.
We had a boatload here at our house that left. Um, we actually celebrated on Wednesday. Everybody left. Well, my parents were here. They left Wednesday night. My son and his fiance left Thursday morning. Oh, my son, his fiance, and her brother. They left Thursday morning, was Thanksgiving. They went up to Michigan to spend some time with part of their family, and then they were back here Sunday night before they went on to school. They started school break or started back from their fall break Monday, yesterday.
Now, Pete said he figures I missed out on the pies and the brownies because they must have all been handed out at normal height.
Pete.
I
Just
got
for
four.
the, just
I got 4 pies.
4.
Yeah,
yeah, well, you're part of that tall group.
That's where
yeah,
Ruby's
and
pies all went.
I also got brownies. And when we were sitting just about to watch Emma do a demonstration, Lucy actually gave me the box of brownies and said, "Wayne, look after that." And I thought, "Oh my
Wow.
life!"
Wow. Doug, there was a comment, and it does happen periodically when you talk, your voice is a little distorted. Your
Okay.
mic might have
And
moved
that may be, it
from
may
your face.
have, or I may have, what in the world was that? Yeah, I see it. It's up a little bit. But also, I think if I talk too loud, it overrides my mic a little bit.
Okay.
A
Now,
while ago, I may have.
Zed is asking, what do you call a dinosaur with good dental hygiene? A velociraptor.
Oh God! Tendering wood turners have got to go.
All right, tendering. Yeah, that's a name. Um, I just saw it for the first time a couple weeks ago in one of the chats.
And Karsten said he didn't get any pies either, so I feel better.
And Mama Snakes has said, "Doug, a lovely shaped bowl." And she's all saying good night to everyone. Night, night, Mama
Okay.
Snakes.
Good
See
night,
you
Mama
soon.
Sneaks.
I'll be right back.
Jim Selby has said, "One of these days I'm going to be on time. Afternoon all."
Hey, Jim. That reminds me, I need to get some pins together and get them sent off to you. Jim is part of our worldwide woodturner family that collects pins for. We do pins, freedom pins. That's what it is.
That's it. Yeah.
Pins are made and given to our military folks, and Jim takes care of the Navy folks by way of Jacksonville, Florida, and all the Navy bases in that area. So, Jim, we appreciate you doing that.
Right now, Jamie has said for Harrogate next year. I think it's for Harrogate next year. He'll be bringing at least 100 pies next time. It's going to cost him a fortune. Yeah, because what tends to happen is that Jamie buys all the food stuff. He buys all the steak and everything like this. His mother, Jill, cooks the pies, and then his dad complains that he can't get anything in the freezer because of all the pies in there.
Well, Yeah, it
And I
looks like
have,
everything's still here.
I tell you what, I am. I've had pies from just about all over the place in the UK, and Jill's pies, steak pies, are by far the best.
Well, that's good to know. That's good to know. If and I ever get over there.
Right, Frederick is asking me, any lives coming up? I think you said you might do one. Now, I was actually just talking to Doug and Ruby about this earlier. I've been speaking to Jamie about this on a fairly regular basis. There's a few things that have got to happen. Um, I have got a computer now. I have got to get the internet set up in the workshop, and I do need heating in there. And I'm waiting for a couple of pieces of chimney flue pipe for my wood burner, which should be arriving sometime this week. Um, so the plan is for the 14th. Oh yeah, and Jamie has said I've also got a heated jacket coming as well.
Oh, wow.
Very good. Very
I'm
good.
just looking at the date. Yeah, the 14th. We're probably looking at the 14th of December, which is going to be my next live.
That sounds
I
like a
was
great
saying
thing.
to, I was saying to Doug that sometime in the near future, I'm going to have to try and get all my cameras set up around my lathes again.
Yeah, though you need to get Robin to help you do that.
Well, right now he's on the island of Antigua
He right,
having a
he
vacation.
is down in Antigua at the moment.
He escaped the cold, did he?
Yep.
Yeah, and Jamie said, and for my life, I am making a ring. Um, for anybody who has seen my lives when I've made a wooden ring, you will understand about the.
Hmm. Between Jamie and Shug.
Yeah, I mean it's. I'm sorry to say, and I'm actually quite surprised I've never been blocked by YouTube. But it is full of innuendos and double entendres.
Hmm. Never fails. You set these bumpers and you're one off,
Now,
or at least I am.
As Haley says, do you think people might have missed you, Wayne? Be good to have you back.
Now, I did say that again. I said to Doug and Ruby before we actually started, I was bullied something rotten down at Harrogate about getting back into it and doing lives again. And I've got to say, bullied in a good way, not in a bad way.
Now,
Mm.
Pete's made a good point that first I have to find the safe place where I put the box that has the cameras. When I had to disassemble all my cameras and that, I put them in a dust-proof box and I put them somewhere in my shop. And I haven't found it yet.
They're over there.
So, but there's a good likelihood of some lives coming up, but it'll be in a few months. I have several things I have to get done first.
That'll be
Okay.
cool.
If anybody did not see it, Paul Finley is taking the month of December off, so no need to look for him on Mondays.
Well, that's because he has to help out Santa Claus. I
That's
mean,
part of
it takes a long time to pack the sleighs with all those goods, and deliver them.
it. Well, between Santa Claus and his club got kicked out of their place, and he's been not single-handedly, but he has been working on getting the new building up and going. Okay. Oh, phew. I thought it was going to be between those two. Holy cow. Um, so what I've done is reversed. I put the cold jaws on. I moved my bumpers to the next to smallest place so that the bowl would go, the opening of the bowl would go over it. Now I can finish the bottom here and get it looking pretty. Well, we'll get it done. I don't know about pretty, but we'll get it done.
What finish are you going to put on this, Doug?
Well, I haven't totally fully decided. Probably going to go. I don't know. I don't know. Because one thing well, I'm not going to do it now. I was thinking about possibly on the top side putting a groove or two and doing something, some kind of an inlay. But I think I'm going to pass on that. I think I'll probably just use some wax, which I should have done on the other side already, but no problem. No problem. I wanted to go through this. Oops, I forgot. I'm on my cold jaws and I ran it up to 1400.
Oops.
Let's slow it down to 800. Now
that's a feature I really like on my Record Power Herald, is that before I even turn the machine on, I know I can digitally read out what the speed is.
yes, I can do that on this one as well. I was at 500 and cranked it up. Sat there watching it. I just forgot that I was using the cold jaws.
Now, Fred says, are the Christmas elves wood turners? If so, they've been in his workshop moving tools.
I know a couple of elves that turn. I will probably be turning Christmas Eve.
Me too.
Jamie said he's just bought some new filters for his Air Shield Pro, which is a mask. I was using it and realized I only had one filter on it and didn't realize until he was choking on sawdust and the whole inside of his mask was full of dust. Well,
Oh
that's
dear. And Raymond has to go, and he says, Doug, the bowl looks fantastic.
Night night, Raymond.
I hope that dark mark I just saw, yes,
is not the bottom.
Spalting. Yeah, it's part of the spalting. Unless I made a huge mistake, I've got half an inch or better on the inside of this. Pretty sure I had it measured correctly. And I'll show you the parts. I'm not going to show you the procedure because it takes me a minute to set it up. How I do the bottoms of my bowls now. You remember I turned this foot, and then I had the tenon on the inside of that. The tenon is now gone. I'm slightly concave all the way across. So I'm just sanding it to get a nice smooth finish across there. And I don't think I'm unusual, but the very center point, that's where I have the most difficult, because that's where it's moving the slowest. So it's hardest to sand that. But once you get it smooth, it's good. You don't want to spend too much time on it because then you get a divot. You don't want to leave a point. So
I find to get rid of it, if I stop the lathe and then I sand with the grain,
there you go. Yes.
I can most often get rid of it.
Sure.
Now, Jamie is asking, Doug, why haven't you got super chats turned on? Surely you are monetized now.
Long story. In fact, Jamie, I might need your help on that. I got to see if I can do it again. I got messed up. I was trying to change the. I was trying to change my email because the old email I had does not exist any longer. And when I did, I somehow ended up. I guess I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing, and I ended up creating a new channel. And that has messed up everything. I was monetized. I did have super chats, all that. In fact, Jamie, you have super chatted me before. You super chatted me. I think you were the very first super chat I ever got. But anyway, they knocked me off, and then I got it messed up again. And they said I had to wait whatever it is, 32 days or something. So I should be getting close. When I find it, I can fix it. Jamie, I may be sending you a message to walk me through it.
Yeah, it's been that long since I put anything out on YouTube that I've been demonetized now.
Yeah, I think that goes by views, doesn't it?
It does.
If
Yeah,
you're not getting a certain number of views, they demonetize.
yeah, it's a certain amount of hours per month that you're looking at.
Right, right. Okay, I'm just going to show you very quickly. We're done, and I'm going to pull this out and show you the completed piece. Get the dust out of the way. Bring my tail. Oh, come on. Don't fight me. I love how this tailstock wants to fight me sometimes, especially when I run.
Jimmy said it's fine for you to get in touch.
Okay, thank you. Okay, if you guys watch Zombie Woodturner, Zed, you'll know that he marks all of his with a small laser. Let's see, if I go to the overhead, you can see it a whole lot better. In fact, let's go to, there we go. Here's my tailstock. You can see it right here. There's my laser, and I've turned the cup, very much like Zed's. Goes in the tailstock, and then when I have to measure it out, and I've got my little measuring stick right here close, I have to bring that up. I'm close, so all I have to do is turn my crank half a turn, lock it back down, have to plug it up, and then it runs off of my computer, or excuse me, off my phone, and I can put my mark right here on the end. There we go. That laser then will put my mark right there on the bottom, just like it ought to be. And so I use my wood spun round logo and then the wood type. So for this, I'll have my logo, an oak, and 1124 is what it'll have on there.
When you're doing this, Doug, do you orientate the grain? So as it is now, the grain is horizontal.
Yes, most of the time. I have to look at it. For this one, it'll definitely be horizontal, just like that. Just like that.
Okay.
Now, what's this little laser called?
It's called a laser pecker. It's the LP1. This is the original. And as you saw, I mean, this is it. It's what, 2.5 inches or so in diameter. Yeah, just over 2.5 inches in diameter. And it's about the same long, about 2.5 inches long. So, and they send you, when you get it, it comes with a tripod and the cord, basically. This is just the power cord here. And this just makes it perfect by turning this little cup. And I've turned not only the cup to hold the laser, there we go, but also turned a Morse taper too on the back end. So it goes right into my tailstock and it sits there just beautifully. I just kind of orientate it so that it looks roughly level. If it's not, I can turn this a little bit and get it so it's all lined up with the grain when I'm doing the preview. So I put in everything I want to put in. I put it in preview mode and turn up the light on it, and it gives me a nice square on the bottom, shows me exactly where it's going to go. I get ready to run out of the room, and I hit go button, and it goes. It takes me about 5 minutes to put my logo on, because I do it in a little higher setting than just the normal. So that's what I'll be doing here in just a few minutes after once we change around and go away and all those kinds of things. Let's see, everybody got their clothes on. We'll let you back in.
Yeah,
I'm glad you gave us some forewarning.
There you go. Well,
my name isn't Greg Wallace.
Anyway,
Oh, he's pressed the wrong button again.
Oh my
Every
goodness.
every week, every week.
Well,
Yeah, I threw myself out.
we noticed, Doug.
Yeah, yeah. I grabbed my mouse, caught the side. I got to open that thing up and figure out how to disable that side button or get a new one. That might be the easier way to do it. Anyway, did y'all see any questions we hadn't hit yet?
No, not at the moment.
All right.
Todd has said he thinks the LP one was on sale last week. It might still be on sale.
I don't know if the LP1 was on sale or not. I know the LP 4 and 5 were. Um, they've gone up through the years. This is the least expensive. It's the base model, and I got it as cheaply as I could. That was the whole point of it.
Approximately
Um,
how much was it?
Right about 200.
Oh, that's pretty reasonable.
Comes
right.
from China, of course. So
Now, Haley has said, and this is to Pete, how about doing small lives, Pete? That might bring the subscribers back in, as your
yeah.
lives are enjoyable. Rob from Copper Owl has put the link into Martin's live
Ah,
for
good.
later
Good, good.
That's
for
tonight.
for later on tonight for us, but later on in the afternoon or later on in the evening for people in the US and Canada.
What did we say? 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern.
No, it's 7:30 Central.
7:30. 7:30. So it's
That's
8:30.
8:30 Eastern Standard
Okay.
Time.
Good. Well, Copper, thank you for putting that link in. I'll be marking that one myself. All right. Well, folks, it's been a good time. Again, I'm sorry I couldn't be here last week. It just didn't work out. But this is the project we were going to do, and so I'm glad to do this. And for oak, I'm telling you, it feels amazingly good. Switch cameras back over. Um, yeah, this oak. The other two bowls and this one have all three they've sanded out beautifully. They're just as smooth as they can be. So I look forward to getting a little finish on there. Wayne asked me a while ago what I'll put on there. I may well use at this point use some feed and wax, or I may go ahead and spray it. Put a bit of lacquer on there and then buff that out with some Axe abrasive paste and polish after a while. But I'll definitely get something on here after I get my mark on the bottom. And like we said there a while ago, I'll probably orient it, however you want to say that word, so that the grain is running horizontal and everything goes on there nice and straight. So with that, I think we're going to say goodnight. Ruby, Wayne, thank you guys for being here, and I hope we'll see you again next week.
Yeah,
Hopefully
as per
that'll
usual,
be the
I will
case.
probably be here.
All righty. Fair warning, Christmas Eve, I will not be on. I will be spending time with family, so I won't
Oh,
be here.
Doug, I saw something in the Worldwide Woodturners group earlier on today. Are you doing a pop-up live tomorrow?
Maybe.
Yeah, it's as far as I'm aware, it's a recovery piece.
Yes. I'm glad you said that, and it's right here, the piece I wanted to work on. Yes, that was because yesterday was Recovery Monday. That's why I said that. Some of you who watch Zed, you may remember this piece. Hello.
Oh yes, that's a piece from Zed.
Yeah, the bottom came out of it as he was finishing up, and I've got a plan on how to fix that and finish it, and I'm looking forward to it. This is how thick is this? This is holy moly, that's not correct.
Now, as
Well, it's
Mike
this.
just pointed out, Doug, we are your family, so you could spend the day with us.
This is 5/8 thick on the edges. I'll probably thin it out a bit as I'm fixing it, but I've got to get a. Captain Eddie always said, if you can hold it, you can turn it. Well, I had to look at it a minute and think, oh, I know how to hold that. So I'll show you how I hold it. When I do it, that's what I'll be. I may do it tomorrow, but it'll be like early in the day probably. So fun stuff. That'll just pop up, and anybody, first couple of people that want to come in to the live, I'll give you the link to come in. So anyway, that's it for me today, and it's been a good day. Yes, Wayne.
When you say early, Doug, what's the time of talking to you there?
Oh, probably noon, 1 o'clock my time.
Noon, 1 o'clock.
Which would be 5 or 6 o'clock your time.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
Doug, Pete makes a good suggestion. Don't use a vacuum chuck.
You don't need high pressure. You need high volume, and I don't have quite that much volume. That's a pretty sizable hole. I mean, you can. Hello. That's a pretty sizable hole. I don't know that you could ever get enough volume to overcome that. No, I've got a better way of doing it. If Jim Sprague was on here, he would know. He uses this method I'm thinking about quite often. So it'll work.
When I'm thinking about it, it's not hard to do.
No,
yeah, I've got to ask now. Seeing as how Jim uses this method quite often, I think he goes through the bottom of bowls quite often.
No, that's the thing. He doesn't. No, he uses glue block all the time. He's got them pre-made on small face plates, and so he just grabs one and sticks it on. He does really good. Jim's amazing turner. Like I said, he turns these hybrid bowl blanks and vases. He'll take some of the nastiest wood and put it in a bucket, fill it with resin, and then fight it for 2 hours and get this massive block of wood and resin, put it on his lathe, and it comes out with some beautiful, absolutely beautiful work. He's got more patience than I have, I guarantee you. So anyway, there it is. There it is, folks. It's been a good day. It's a polo. What do you mean, Lucy?
The polos are a suite across here.
Oh, okay, okay. Like a Rolo?
No, it's not like a Rolo. It's a mint crunchy suite, which actually has a hole in the middle.
Okay, okay. My goodness, yeah. Vacuum chuck won't work. You're right, Pete. I was just looking. There it is. Ceanothus burl? Ceanothus burl? Zed says, whatever it is, however you say that word, that's what this is. It's a pretty piece of wood. And I'm looking forward to getting it knocked out. So anyway, with that, I'm going to say...
I've got to say Zed made that up.
Jamie's right. We call the polos lifesavers over here.
Oh, right. I got you.
Okay.
I got you. Don't see those like you used to. Used to be, every year it looked like a book of lifesavers. It had like 10 rolls on each side that closed up together. And I only liked 2 flavors, the cherry and the butter rum.
I like the peppermint.
Yeah, I didn't care for those. Give those to my dad.
Right. Ceanothus is also called California lilac.
Yep. That's it. Yes, California lilac. That's a better name. All right. Well, I'm going to hit it this time. Bye, folks. It's been good seeing you. Have a good week.
See you next week.